Strange Darling is a 2023 horror thriller starring Kyle Gallner and Willa Fitzgerald. This premiered at Fantastic Fest. It got a wider release in 2024, so technically most people are considering it a 2024 film, including myself, because that's when most people got to watch it. But this is basically, I would say mostly a thriller, but it's definitely got a lot of horror elements to it as well. And it was very much talked about in 2024 and in the festival circuits as well for being a film that is very much told out of order. And that's what its, I'm not going to say gimmick, but that's what its selling point was, is the fact that it takes like a Pulp Fiction kind of style, in a sense, you could say. And this film was hyped as hell, and I was very excited to watch it, and I had a really good time with it. I thought it was a great film. Very hard to talk about without spoilers, and I want to give a spoiler-free review, so I can't really talk about the plot a whole lot, but I can give like the basic nutshell of it. Basically, you have a couple, they're nameless, basically they're just called the Lady and the Demon. Basically there's a motel situation, and then it just turns into a cat and mouse story. So that's as far as I can get into it, and of course it's told out of order, and it's told in chapters, but the chapters are, it'll start with like chapter 3 and then go to chapter 5 and go back and forth like that, which is a cool style, and I really like films that do that. Now, the problem with this film, the only problem with this film really, is I think I had too much high hopes going into it, and because of all the hype, the massive hype that this film was getting, and all the raving reviews that this thing was getting, I went into it and I had a really good time with it and I enjoyed it, but I just came out of it feeling a little bit underwhelmed because I was expecting something so amazing, and I ended up thinking that it's a really cool film, but I think Pulp Fiction just did it better. And Pulp Fiction also didn't like use the whole out of order sequence as like a selling point either. It kind of took you by surprise, and then by the time you get to the end of Pulp Fiction, you're like, holy shit, I actually enjoyed that experience much more. With this one, it's literally a film divided into chapters, and it'll have the chapters literally out of order, which is cool. But I heard so many people be like, oh, this film would not be the same told in sequence and stuff like that. And yes, that's true. It would not be the same, and the story would not be as impactful. And the film only makes sense out of order. I mean, if you're going to talk about, like, if you watch it in order, there's no oomph to it. Like, if they just told chapter 1 to the last chapter, it's just going to be your average thriller kind of thing. But the film is really good, and it's shot beautifully, and the cinematography is gorgeous. Now, Willa Fitzgerald is the standout in here, hands down. Her performance is Oscar worthy. She is the best part of the movie. She is unbelievable in how she performs, and it's not just her dialogue, it's her tones, and it's what she's not saying. It's absolutely her body language, and it's absolutely her mannerisms. And there's just something about her performance that is so unique that you don't see very often. And Kyle Gallner as well is a 10 out of 10. He's dynamite in here too. There's nothing to take away from him in his performance. However, the standout, in my opinion, is Willa Fitzgerald, just because of how raw she gets and how much she just dives into this role and gives it her absolute all. So it's a really good film, and I do recommend it. I think the hype train was too strong with this one, and I was expecting like top 10 of the year, and I wouldn't say I'd put it there, but it's an interesting take on the style of film that it is, and it's very, very thrilling. It moves in a style where it's well paced. There's no lags in it. It's not like rapid speed. It's not like, it moves at a decent pace, and the dialogue is very good too. You do get a lot of moments where it's just dialogue, and then it's just like people talking kind of thing, and they do that very well, and the performances during those segments are really good. There's things that happen too in this film that kind of aside from the cat and mouse thing going on. There's other things that go on too, involving like side characters and stuff like that are just as interesting. Like you expect this film to just be two characters the entire time, but there is side characters that are side characters. They're not usually they're not on screen for very much. Sometimes they have just like 2 minutes in the entire like whole like spread out through the entire runtime, but their impact as a character is so huge, and I really like that element too. So all the characters are utilized whether they're on screen for hours or hours or whether they're on screen for like just a few moments. Everybody has a point and a purpose in this film, and everything like wraps around really well. So I think they did a good job on that, and I think this film is extremely well done. Just a little overhyped. It didn't blow me away like it blew a lot of other people away, but that's not to say that it's not a great film, because it absolutely is, and I highly recommend it. So, but like I said, I can't really talk too much about plot, so just go see it, enjoy the ride, because it definitely is exactly that. It's a ride, and have a good time with it, and I recommend it, absolutely, no doubt. It's a very good film, and go for Willa Fitzgerald, if anything, because she probably won't win anything, but she sure as hell deserves it. There's no question about that. So that's what I got on Strange Darling. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with more soon, so stay tuned for those. Check out what's on the channel already. Stay tuned for what's coming. Until next review, have a good one. Take care and cheers.